Good evening, gentlemen. My name is Denny Almaskanov and I'm here today with you on the Just Guns channel. And today I wanted to talk to you about the new Russian PL series pistols, which seems to be a rather curious topic to you, I suggest. But to do so, we should first take a look at the Russian service pistols overall, not just the PLK on its own. The reason for that is that we should probably understand the reasoning behind the development of the PL, and that would allow us to understand what the future of the pistol might be and how important it is to the Russian firearms industry and firearms industry overall. Obviously, Russian semi-auto pistols is a huge topic that can't be covered in such a short video, so we are just focusing on the most important models this time. It all starts with the Tokarev, the notorious TT that was firing a 7.62x25 cartridge and was adopted not that long before the World War II. 7.62x25 is the cartridge that was used in the Soviet submachine guns, such as the Shpagin or the Sudayev, that dictated the use of the cartridge for the pistols. However, after the Second World War, Soviets moved on to the 7.62x39 that was used with the AK and all the other weapon systems adopted. Therefore, there was no reason to keep a 7.62x25mm pistol in the service. A new, much lighter pistol and a much lighter cartridge were developed. The Makarov or the PM now fired a 9x18mm round, despite the fact that external ballistics of the round and its overall energy were much worse than that of the 7.62x25. There was a very solid reason it was developed. The main characteristics studied for the development of the 9x18mm cartridge were the stopping power, and it was determined as the volume of the cavity generated by the Makarov and all the other bullets. It turned out that this design of a bullet allows for a cavity that would not only exceed the cavity of the 7.62x25, but would actually be comparable to the cavity left by the 45 ACP bullet used by the Colt 1911. However, as the time passed by, it was becoming clear that Makarov has multiple issues with it. In the 1990s, a series of Grech or Rook programs was initiated by the Russian MOD. The Ministry of Defense was looking for a new pistol that would allow for a much greater penetration compared to the Makarov and even normal FMJ 9x19mm rounds, while allowing for modern, at the time modern, ergonomics and a high-capacity magazine. As you may have noted, during the whole story of the Soviet pistols, one of the main forces behind the development of the pistol has always been the round. Multiple pistol cartridges and pistols were developed during the Grech programs. Arguably, the most important of those were the 7M21 and 7M31 cartridges, alongside the Yarygin PYA pistol. Both cartridges feature an exposed hard steel core, somewhat similar to the EPR rounds developed in the West. Amongst other features of the weapon system, these cartridges featured a much higher operating pressure compared to normal 9x19 rounds, allowing for a really great penetration comparable to the NIJ-3A level standards. So what about the PLK? Surprisingly, the PLK does not introduce any sort of a new cartridge. This is the main hint that would allow you to predict that the PLK and all the other PL series pistols are not actually intended for the military use. How come? Well, that needs quite an explanation to do. First of all, the whole development of the PL series pistols started at Kalashnikov's concern own will circa 2014, arguably 2013. The pistol was obviously designed by the Mr. Lebedev, and Kalashnikov concerns firearms designer. Original Lebedev design was a rather unconventional and unusual pistol. It featured a double-action only trigger mechanism operated by an internal hammer. However, There are some obvious issues with a double action only pistol. Therefore, an alternative trigger mechanism was developed for the pistol. New firing mechanism was operated by a striker instead of the hammer and allowed for single action only. It was intended for the design to be modular, allowing the soldier or probably the procurement office to decide whether they want an internal double action only hammer fired version or the striker fired single action only variant of the pistol. However, there were some issues with this concept. First of all, Lebedev's design of the striker-fired pistol did not meet the MOD's or the military's reliability requirements, meaning that this version of the pistol could not be used with the military. On top of that, internal hammer, double-action only variant of the pistol was found to be not needed by anyone. This was further exaggerated by the fact that, in the eyes of the military, the new pistol did not bring anything new to the table. It was pretty much identical to the Yargin and other Grach series pistols. At the same time, while Ijevsk, the city of Ijevsk and the Kalashnikov group had their PL series pistols developed, in the other part of Russia, a company known as Tsenitochmash from Klimovsk had a completely different pistol that was designed for the military according to the military requirements, that was much different from all the other pistols. We'll probably talk about the UDAF in another video. As the double-action only version of the pistol was found to be not needed by anyone, it was decided to leave the striker-fired version only. Despite the fact that it is a striker-fired pistol, it has quite a pleasant trigger feel. It was largely loved by the public, and it was found that both internal forces such as the Rosguard, the National Guard of Russia, the MVD, the Ministry of Internal Affairs, and sportsmen were all interested in the new pistol. What ended up happening is that the compact version of the pistol, the PLK, was trialed by the MVD, the police forces, etc., while the modular, full-sized version, the MPL, was trialed by the Rosguard. In 2021, these pistols were adopted by both structures. The PLK features a shorter barrel, a smaller frame, and single version only, while the full-sized MPL features a longer barrel, full-sized frame, higher magazine capacity, and a special version that features a silencer alongside higher silencer-compatible iron sights. EL series pistols are quite common in the Russian internal forces nowadays, since the production numbers are actually pretty high. However, this does not put the end to the story of the PL series pistols with the Russian fighting forces. Predictably, it had something to do with the invasion of Ukraine. During the invasion, it was found that the use of not adopted weapon systems might be a good idea. For example, Russian pilots were stuck to Soviet personal defense weapons only, having no better option than the Soviet APS Stechkin pistol. Therefore, PLK pistols were procured by the military to issue those to the pilots. On top of that, PL series pistols had some limited use with the VDV snipers. Unlike the pilot's case, it was not a centralized effort, it was an initiative coming upwards from the snipers themselves to their unit commander that found that to be a great idea and allowed the procurement of a small batch of PL series pistols to them. Now let's take a look into the PLK itself.
Okay, so now that we're looking into the design of the pistol itself, let's start by reminding ourselves that this exact pistol is a deactivated model of the PLK that was converted to blank firing mode only, that was produced in 2020, which is indicated by the serial number seen on the slide of the pistol. First two digits of the serial number indicate the year of production, and the serial number itself consists of a letter and 4 digits. Now let's talk about the key components of the pistol and its controls. And obviously the pistol consists of the frame and the slide. The frame is made of an aluminum alloy and the slide is made of steel. A manual safety and a bolt held open can be found on the both sides of the pistol. On the left side of the pistol only there is a disassembly lever. The magazine release is doubled on both sides as well, simultaneously working on both sides. The magazine itself is spring-loaded, allowing it to easily detach from the frame. The pistol features a set of iron sights that are compatible with only normal Glock-fitting iron sights. The disassembly process obviously starts with making sure that the firearm is unloaded. After that, we push the disassembly lever through to the left side. Now that the takedown lever is rotated 90 degrees downwards, the slide is moved forward, allowing it to detach from the frame. Let's inspect the slide of the pistol first. On the inside of the slide, there are markings located. Those markings include proof marks, model designation, Kalashnikov logo, year of production, and a Made in Russia line. The slide hosts the barrel assembly and the recoil spring assembly. In the middle section of the slide, there is a firing pin located. The firing pin extrudes to the rear side of the slide. On top of that, in the middle section of the slide, there is an external ejector located. The reason for such a huge unoccupied space is dictated by the fact that the pistol was supposed to house an internal hammer. Moving on to the frame of the pistol itself. Normally, both the barrel and the recoil spring would detach from the frame. However, in case of the blank firing models, only the recoil spring is detachable from the frame. The recoil spring itself is actually quite complicated. It includes 6 parts, albeit later on it was replaced with a 3 parts design. The reason behind such a complicated design is the fact that the pistol was supposed to fire high pressure, high energy Russian 9mm rounds, such as 7M21, 7M30 and 7M31, followed up by all the other variations of those. All of those were found to damage a normal spring, therefore a 3-spring design was incorporated. I'm not entirely sure of the way they fixed the issue, but new production pistols don't have such a complicated recoil mechanism. Moving back to the frame of the pistol itself. On top of the blank firing model markings found on the barrel, there is a serial number found on the frame of the pistol. Obviously, almost all the mechanisms of the pistol are located in the rear section of the frame. The trigger is connected to the operating surface via this pin. The operating surface itself moves backwards as the trigger is pressed. This trigger assembly is operated by a spring located over there. The operating surface pushes against the lever that is connected to the sear. The sear is disconnected from the lever. Both the sear and the lever feature their own respective springs. In the backwards motion of the slide, it operates the sear, pushing it downwards. In the forward motion of the slide, The firing pin catches onto the sear, locking it in the backwards position. The mag release button functions from the both sides simultaneously due to the fact that there is an internal lever activated by the movement of the mag release button located in the frame. If we pay close attention to the mag release button, it rotates slightly when pressed, indicating manipulations with the lever. The magazine of the pistol is of rather orthodoxal design. It is a double-stack, single-feed magazine. The assembly of the pistol is not much different from the disassembly process. Therefore, if you don't mind me doing so, I will assemble the pistol behind the scene.
Overall, I find the PL series pistols to be rather controversial. My experience with them was quite unpleasant. However, all the other people I've talked to like this pistol a lot. Further development of the pistol is predicted by Kalashnikov concern. That's all for today. Thanks.